Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, Har sir.
हाँ यस सर, हिमांशु सर।
हाँ सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर। बस शेख सर का वेट कर रहा हूँ। एक्चुअली 30-32 लोग आ गए हैं। शेख सर दिख जाए एक बार तो
हाँ
अंदर लेकर के। आज तो सर सुबह अच्छा चला, मतलब 2 घंटे चल गया, आगे शेख सर आ गए सर। 2 घंटे में एक बार भी इंटरप्ट भी नहीं हुआ,
आगे शेख सर।
आया।
अच्छा वो आपका वाला
हाँ
सनराइज वाला।
हाँ हाँ, इसी जूम आईडी से।
अरे वाह, बधाई हो सर,
मतलब
बहुत
शायद
बढ़िया। और आज आज आप क्लीन शेव हो गए हो तो और बढ़िया लग रहे हो सर।
थैंक यू सर।
चलो बहुत बढ़िया, आ गए शेख सर, आ गए।
सर गुड आफ्टरनून सर। शेख सर आ गए सर।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा।
सर कैन यू हियर अस?
Audible, audible.
सर गुड आफ्टरनून सर। मोस्ट वेलकम टू यू सर।
Good afternoon.
आवाज आ रही है सर?
Thank you. हाँ आ रही है।
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है सर।
चलो ठीक,
तो मैं ले लूं
ठीक
सर
है, चलो
पार्टिसिपेंट?
स्टार्ट कर दो।
33-34 बंदे हैं बाहर
हाँ
वेटिंग में,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
हाँ
स्टार्ट कर
हाँ
दो।
है ना? ठीक है सर।
सर को बता दो अगर अपने पास टाइम हो तो।
सर वैसे मतलब आई थिंक कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी, मैनेज हो
नहीं
जाएगा।
मैं, चलो ठीक है, स्टार्ट कर दो। ओके, ऑल द बेस्ट।
ओके।
35-40 लोग तो हैं लाइन पे।
हाँ 40 जने हैं, बस एक बार सब अंदर आ जाएं, बाद
हम्म।
में बस शुरू करते हैं। अब मैंने वेटिंग रूम हटा दिया है तो आई थिंक मोर देन 40 ऑल विल एडमिट इनसाइड। We got registration more than 100 sir. It's a huge
yeah,
response.
I have just got it. Definitely. It is your effort, no?
Actually sir, this topic, it is on demand sir. It may need to be repeated again. So I think
Definitely.
you
Because
see,
today also we will just discuss the base of ICU management, physiotherapy management in
sure
ICU.
sir, sure sir.
Because many of the physios we don't know the basic things.
Yes definitely sir. So we will wait for 1 more minute only, then jitne bhi
Sure.
participant honge we will start with the, and rest all will automatically come in.
Sure.
And okay, fine. So I do make you host if you need to unmute in between. I think there
You
is no
can just control it. I will collaborate to you. Okay. First, let me explain the topic first, and then after that we will go for the questioning session.
Okay.
That's fine.
So good afternoon everyone. Today again, very nice day. Very good afternoon to you all. Now today, I, Dr. Himanshu, again welcomes you all from the Physio Inculcators on our today's webinar on the topic, the role of physiotherapy in ICU. This actually the topic is in a very need, and indeed I would say that during the COVID, this topic is needed to make us prepared, and it has been recommended by even WHO also, preparedness. So that preparedness will come from this topic. So I would like to thank you, Sheikh sir, to spare the time for us to spread the knowledge, to share the knowledge with us, and this would be gonna very interactive and very good session for us. We will have a lot of informative things in between. Sheikh sir is a very senior physiotherapist. He is HOD in a hospital in a Bhopal along with the assistant professor. Sheikh sir having very good experience in the cardiorespiratory. He has been post-graduated long before from Jamia Hamdard, and he also has an honored student of the Jamia Hamdard, the best student of the college. So we actually are very fortunate to have you with us, sir. Sheikh sir, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, you are not visible, sir. Can you please open your video?
Sure.
So again, I would like to welcome you, sir, from the side of the Physio Inculcators, that you have spared the time for us, and you spared the time for us people to share your incredible knowledge, sir, and thank you very much. I would like to invite you for the uh, initiating your session, sir. Hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good evening to everyone. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Harsh sir, Dr. Ritu ma'am, and Dr. Himanshu, and the Physio Inculcator team for giving me such an opportunity to share my knowledge and experience with all of you. Thank you very much. So now I will just start with my topic as told by the Himanshu, Dr. Himanshu. So first of all, I will just give you a brief idea of about the ICU, because many of the physios and many of the non-medical people, we don't know what is the basic setup of an ICU, or what we can usually observe in an ICU, right? So first of all, we will just go through the basic base of the ICU. So ICU, it is also called as an intensive treatment unit or critical care unit. In an ICU, the patient with severe and life-threatening illness and injuries, which required constant close monitoring and support from special equipments and medications to ensure the normal body functions. Like if the person who is very much ill and he is not taking the spontaneous breathing, or he requires the, or he or she requires the continuously observation, that such patients are admitted to an ICU. Now, the types of the ICU are like neonatal ICUs, then your pediatric ICUs, your CCU, then your psychiatric intensive care unit, your neurological ICU, your traumatic ICU, your surgical ICU unit, and your mobile ICU unit. Now, the types of devices which we usually observe in the ICU is, first is your patient monitoring devices. The patient monitoring devices includes your arterial line, your BP devices, your BP monitor, your ECG, EEG, pulse oximeter, which tells us about the patient oxygen saturation. And next is your life support devices, which includes your ventilator, which we usually see in an ICU, then your laryngoscope, then your infusion pump, defibrillators, etc. The next is your diagnostic devices. The diagnostic devices includes your mobile X-ray units, bronchoscope, endoscope, colonoscope, and other equipments also we usually see in an ICU is your urinary catheter, your suction catheter, your nasogastric tube, IV lines, rice tubes. Apart from this, we also used to observe the patient bed, which is adjustable and having an elevator from both the sides, either from the upside or from the bottom, according to which we position the patient in a proper position. Right. Now, coming to our basic topic of physiotherapy management in ICU patients, especially. Right. So, as we enter to an ICU as a part of a physiotherapy, we have some certain objectives, right? So, first is your assessment of the patient. Then, in assessment of the patient, we just see the patient whether he is conscious or not. Then after that, we just go through the case paper and the daily orders, means like what are the basic medications the patient is given, what are the urinary output, what are the how much fluid is taking, and how much fluid is he's absorbing, and how much amount of the fluid he is taking out, giving out, and also the temperatures, means vitals we can say. And if the patient is on ventilator, then we have to know that on which mode is the patient is, either in SIMV mode or is in IPP mode, or which mode, right? Then next is your inspection. In inspection, we go for the chest movement of the patient, whether the patient is having a normal chest movement like your bucket handle movement or pump handle movement or paradoxical breathing. So this is very important as a part of inspection. The next is your clubbing. Clubbing is usually we seen in the nails of the patient. Then your cyanosis. Cyanosis is the bluish discoloration due to the lack of oxygen, especially it is seen in the peripheral and as well as in the central part of the body, in the nails and in the mouth and in the nose and all. Then next is your kyphoscoliosis. It is a deformity of the spine, as we all know. In inspection, we usually see it. The next is your palpation. In palpation, we go for the tenderness. And if the patient is having a rib fracture, we usually just palpate it. He will or she will feel pain. Then your crepitus also. Next is your percussion. In percussion, we usually see in the dullness of the sound, and if there is any water, then we will feel then hyperresonance and all. Then fourth or next point is your auscultation. In auscultation, we usually auscultate the breath sound of the patient. Usually we have the two breath sounds, vesicular and bronchial, as well as bronchovesicular also. And there are also abnormal bend sounds like your rhonchi, wheeze, crackles. We also have to go through it with the help of the stethoscope. So this is a part of very important part of the assessment. It is a basic part and initial part in the physiotherapy management in ICU. So we should have this one first. Then our goals of the treatment. What are our goals? First is to relieve pain, because as the patient is admitted in an ICU, we relieve pain. We have to relieve pain of the patient. And this is possibly done with the help of having modalities like your TENS or IFT. We can use it. Okay. Next is your to prevent the accumulation of secretions. This is our next goal. Then to mobilize and remove the secretions. This is all possible by the chest clearance techniques. I will tell you after some time this one. Then to teach proper method of breathing pattern. The patient should breathe in a proper manner, right? Some patients are diaphragmatic breathers, some patients are upper chest breathers. So we have to motivate the patients. Then to teach the postural awareness and relaxation to the patient. We have to teach the patient about the postural awareness, because if the patient is having a poor posture, it may develop secondary complications, right? As the patient is in the ICU, so he may be in the stress or he may be in depression. So we have to teach them or taught them certain relaxation positions, or if possible, we have to go for some motivational talks to the patients. And if possible, we also talk to the relatives of the patients. Then to improve the functional capacity of the patient. This is also our main aim, one of the main aim. The next is your to advise the home program, because after that, if the patient is getting cured from the ICU, then he go to the ward, and after ward he just shifted to the home. So we have to tell the patients about the home protocol, exercise protocol, and after that, at what time he has to come for the regular follow-up. Now the objectives of your chest physiotherapy, it is very much important. First is your clearance of secretions, that is from the larger and smaller airways, and also we have to taught the re-expansion of the non-ventilated lungs. Then next is your to improve ventilation, right? Then and also to reduce the incidence of post-operative respiratory infections and hospital stay. So these are the objectives, basic objectives we have to keep in mind as working as a physiotherapist in an ICU, right? Now, next is your treatment techniques, which we used in an ICU. So as a very important part as a physiotherapist, the first and the basic thing is your positioning of the patient. Positioning is very much essential because it prevents very much complications. Important complications is your bed source or your pressure source, or it may develop the deconditioning of the patient, which leads to the muscle wasting, joint stiffness. So, or sometimes it may lead to subluxation of the joints. For example, in the case of hemiplegia. So we have to be very much cautious when we go for the proper positioning of the patients according to the need of the patients, condition of the patients. Then second one is your mobilization. Then next is your manual hyperinflation. Then your percussion, vibration, shaking, huffing, coughing, suctioning, and breathing exercises. Now, I will come to the mobilization part. This mobilization it helps to maintain or restore the normal fluid distribution in the body, right? And it also decreases the effect of immobility and bed rest, because as the patient is on the bed rest, the patient is having a surgery of a chest wall, or for example, he has gone for a bypass surgery, CABG. Then after that, he may develop frozen shoulder, bilateral or unilateral. So we have to be very much cautious, and with support, start with your gentle shoulder exercises initially. Then in mobilization, we include your limb exercises, as I told you before. Then you're moving and turning in the bed. Okay, so we make patient independent slowly so that he can move by himself, or if required, with the help of support, and then turning in the bed. Then standing, if the patient is able to turn, move, and sit properly, then we make him to stand. Then from standing, we make the patient to transfer from the chair to the bed and vice versa. And after that, if the patient gains all these mobilization things, we motivate the patients to go for walking. Next is your manual hyperinflation. Manual hyperinflation, it is given by Ambu-Bag, we all know, because it is especially given when the patient is on the ventilator and if his saturation is falling frequently. So we go for manual hyperinflation with the help of Ambu-Bag, right? And it depends upon the secretion of the patient also, right? Because if you apply pressure, then there is chances of getting a burst of the alveoli. So we have to be very much cautious that how much pressure the patient requires, because the pressure for the child or a pedia patient is different as compared to the patient, as compared to the pressure of an adult patient. Okay. Then next technique is the postural drainage technique. Postural drainage, we all know, it is the chest clearance techniques which is done with the help of the gravity, right? So for this, we have a thorough knowledge of the bronchopulmonary segments of both the lungs, left and right lung, and at which segments or lobe the secretion is there. So according to that, we have to position the patient, and it should be perpendicular to the surface of the earth or to the plinth, so that with the assistance of the gravity, the secretions goes out. But before doing this postural drainage, we have to keep in mind certain contraindications, like hemoptysis, if the patient is having a blood in the sputum or having a recent myocardial infarction, pulmonary embolism, pulmonary edema, or pneumothorax. Okay. The next technique is your percussion and vibration. So percussion and vibration are also a manual technique. In percussion, we generally give a rhythmic flexion extension of the wrist given at both the phase of respiration, inspiration as well as expiration, right? And the force will be like 100 to 480 times per minute. Okay, it should not be vigorous, and it should not be very much gentle, depends upon the patient. Percussion. And then next is your vibration. Vibration is the isometric contraction of your pectorals, your biceps, your triceps, your wrist extensors, especially given at the phase of expiration of the patient, throughout the phase of expiration of the patient. Okay, so in giving this percussion and vibration, we also kept in mind certain contraindications, that the patient should not have a rib fracture, because in rib fracture we do not have to give this percussion and vibration. Lung abscess, tumors, pulmonary embolism, osteoporotic patients, unstable angina, bronchopleural fistula, lung abscess. So before giving all these techniques, we have to keep in mind all these contraindications, right? Or it should not be given in the routine way, because it should be given according to the requirement of the patient. First, you auscultate. If you feel any type of, if you hear any type of secretions, then just go for that. Go for this treatment. Vibrations can also be given, like mechanical vibrators are also used in the hospital. We can also use to give, and we usually apply this to we usually apply in both the phases of expiration and inspiration. Okay. Now the shaking, the next technique, which is usually given in chest physiotherapy. It is a vigorous form of vibration applied during the exhalation phase, right? And it's a bouncing maneuver, right? Coupled with both the movement of the hand. Means like we apply the bouncing movement from our both the hands at the lower part of the chest, lower part and the lateral wall of the chest wall in the direction from inside and upward. Means from in to upward at the phase of expiration and throughout the phase of expiration. This is the type of a shake. Contraindication, the same as I have told you for about the percussion and vibration is the same, which we have to kept in mind before giving the shaking program to the patient, right? After these two techniques, if the patient won't be able to cough, means like he is unconscious, then we have to go for suctioning, right? Or suctioning is also indicated for the patient who is having a depressed cough, right? So it is on, but it should be given on demand, but not on in the routine way, right? So the catheter which is used in the suction, it should be half the diameter of the tracheal tube or endotracheal tube. This is also kept in mind. For adults, the sizes also matters, like 10, 12, 14, 16 French gauze is used to be used, and for pediatric patients is 6 or 8 French gauze. So this size is denoted by the color of the catheter, which we usually use in an ICU, right? So, and for the pressure which we applied in suction, for adults, it should be 150 to 200 mm Hg, and for children, it should be less than 100 mm of Hg, right? So, and also, we should not go for continuously suctioning for the long duration, because the patient may go for cyanosis or may go for syncope, or maybe because if we are applying a continuously negative pressure over the chest wall, then we are just washing the oxygen along with the CO2 from the chest wall. So we have to be cautious with just during the time of giving the suction, right? Now the contraindications of suctioning is like we should not be given, it should not be given for the patient who is hypoxic, or the patient who is having hypoxia, atelectasis patient, right? Or the patient who may have a chances of getting cardiac arrest, or the patient who may have bronchospasm, because if the patient is having a bronchospasm, it may aggravate the bronchospasm of the patient, especially in the patients like obstructive lungs disease, asthma. Because in asthmatic patients, the patients usually have complaints of lots of secretions in their chest wall, right? Then next technique, as I told you, is huffing and coughing. So huffing and coughing, huffing is, we all know that it's a forceful expiration with an open glottis, like this is a huffing. Coughing, it is a forceful expiratory technique with an closed glottis, this one, right? So this is the best way. We should try to go for the removal of the techniques. Apart from suctioning, we just motivate the patient to do or to go for coughing and huffing techniques to remove the secretions from the central to the peripherals and from it to the outside. Now, there are also certain breathing exercises. So the main aim of the breathing exercises is that it assists in the removal of the secretions, right? It also improves your respiratory muscle strength of the patients. It also improves the functional capacity of the patient, and it also helps in the relaxation of the patients. So breathing exercises like your diaphragmatic breathing, we all know, we just make the patient to just put the hand over both the hand over his abdomen, and just make him to just tell the patient to take the normal inspiration and expiration and see the movement of the diaphragm. He usually see it. Then your ventilatory muscle training. This is also a type of a breathing exercises in which the diaphragmatic breathing along with the weight is used. This is usually used for the strengthening of the inspiratory muscles like the diaphragm, especially. And your incentive spirometer, which we usually use in an ICU, according to which we usually prescribe to the patient. Then your segmental breathing exercises. The segmental breathing exercises includes your apical breathing exercises, right? And your localized basal expansion. So segmental breathing exercises in apical breathing part, we usually apply both the hands or one hand over our apical area and we just make the patient to take deep inspiration and apply the force throughout the phase of inspiration and then release it, right? Simply like that. In localized facial expansion, we used a fist over our lateral thorax or lateral chest wall here, right? And then we applied pressure throughout the phase of inspiration and then we release it at the phase of expiration. Or for or sometimes we used certain clothings like towel in spite of your hand for in the part of expiration. Then next is your pulse lip breathing. We all know this normal respiration and breathing exercise. Now, passive and active exercises. Passive and active exercises we usually give like your passive range of motion if the patients won't be able to move because it prevents many complications like the patient is having some power like grade 1 grade 2, then we assist him like active range of we assist him and just we make him to active assisted range of exercises. And if the patient is having a good muscle strength, then we just motivate him to do the active range of motion exercises or range of movement of the body part, right? Then because you know just it used to improve the muscle strength and also of thromboembolism. Okay, okay. And one thing I just also want to discuss with you is your adverse effect of ICU stay. ICU because you know each everything has a benefit as well as the drawback. So ICU stay, if the patient is for a long time, if he or she is in the ICU, then he may develop muscular atrophy and generalized weakness because the patient is immobile, he is not getting sufficient nutrition. So that's why there is a decrease and the patient may feel generalized weakness. Sometimes the patient feel diaphragmatic weakness also due to prolonged ventilation because the patient is not ventilating spontaneously, he's not taking breathing, he's not breathing by himself, his diaphragm they also get weakened. So this is also a chances, right? And some if the patient is on ventilator, then there are lots of risk of getting a hospital induced pneumonia. This is also one of the commonest complications which we usually see in ICU. Then your pressure ulcers, this is also very much common. So we have to change the position of the patients frequently, or if possible 15 minutes to 20 minutes every time, so that to avoid the risk of getting the pressure ulcers, especially on the prominent part of the body. And deep vein thrombosis, DVT, it is most commonly seen in the patients because of the lack of mobility, lack of blood circulation in the lower limb. So this is also one of the major complications of having an ICU, prolonged ICU stay. And the last one is your infections. Infection may be of your chest infection or any type of infections which affect your body part, like it may sometimes lead to your high temperature or in anything. So this is what I have just discussed to you, all of you. This in a very nutshell, the ICU management or ICU management by a physiotherapist. So I just hope so that you just learn a little bit from me. So I just hand over to Manshu. And Manshu, just if anybody has any queries, please let me know.
Yes. So it was a very nice session, and actually everything has been summarized in a very short duration. So it is actually skill of a good teacher that everything can be summarized within the time. So a good thing, sir. And now I am allowing the participant, they can unmute themselves. If anybody has any query, you can ask. आप सभी को unmute करने की authority दे दी है. If you want to ask something, yes, Dr. Kesar, you can ask.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, Sheikh.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Audible.
Can we apply pressure throughout the breathing? I mean, can we apply pressure on inspiration as well as expiration? And if we can apply both pressure on both the things, then what will be the significance of doing this?
Ma'am, listen, ma'am. First of all, this inspiration is, this inspiration and if you apply a pressure in both the phase of expiration, the patient get fatigue.
Okay.
Hello, and
Hello.
ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. The patient get fatigue. First of all,
Okay.
and inspiration is actively, and as we go for inspiration, the patient usually inspire by himself, but expiration is we do not have any control over expiration. Are you getting, ma'am?
Hello.
Ma'am, are you getting my voice?
नहीं, बीच में कट रहा है. हाँ, बोलो.
अच्छा मैम, अभी ठीक है.
हाँ.
मैम एक्चुअली में अगर हम लोग दोनों फेस में लगाते हैं तो पेशेंट ही और शी विल गेट फैटीग वेरी मच अर्ली.
I'm asking about we can give separately in inspiration as well as expiration, and if we give in inspiration, then what will be the significance of giving this?
Inspiration may actually, help in the expansion of the lungs. It will increase the tidal volume of the lungs. अगर हम तो पेशेंट का टाइटल जो अंदर हवा आने के लिए जो स्ट्रेंथ होती है, it will also get improved. Are you getting my voice now?
Yeah, there is lot of disturbance. I don't know. कहाँ से आ रही है? Yeah. Okay, मैं पर्सनल कॉल करके पूछ लूंगी तुमसे, कोई बात नहीं.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, Dr. Keshar.
Yeah, Himanshu.
Raise the hand. Would you like to ask something? Keshar Chaudhary ji. Dr. Keshar. So, if anybody else who would like to ask anything to Sheikh sir, they can ask.
Himanshu, I want to say something. If anybody who is interested to ask any queries regarding the topic or not from this topic, any field from the cardio, physiotherapy in the cardio or anything in the physiotherapy, they just mail me their questions at any time. I will just go through it. No problem.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Meenal. I just want to ask you, sir, that there are some contraindications regarding using vibration and percussion. Can you just brief out what are the contraindications of vibration and percussion and why?
Listen, this vibration and percussion, first of all, we just usually use the manual techniques. We use the hands, right, for both these techniques. So contraindications for this, I've already told in this session that for vibration and in percussion, we just kept in mind that the patient should not have any type of rib fracture. He do not have any type of active infections. He do not have any bronchopleural fistula or your pneumothorax or any type of we can say bronchospasm, active bronchospasm, or any type of obstructive lungs disease. So this should be kept in mind.
Okay, sir. But sir, I have heard that there is a contraindication in pneumonia patient, that we can't use percussion and vibration in pneumonia.
Yeah, definitely. We do not use it. We just go for that patient huffing technique.
Okay, sir.
We just go for the huffing techniques to that patient for the secretion removal.
Okay. So, we are going to the forced expiratory technique or active cycle of breathing technique if patient is conscious.
No, ECVT is also not ACVT, because in a active cycle breathing technique we also use coughing techniques.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We use
You know the
carpet.
phases of ACBT? You know the phases of ACBT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay, so that's why
Yes.
we do not use that technique to this pneumonia patient.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir.
Fine. Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, well.
Yes, anyone else? Anyone can ask anything. किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना हो तो they can ask.
So can we
Okay.
get the mail ID so in case of doubts later on we can contact you?
Yeah, sure. It's just you just write it down. Sheikh Mujibuddin @gmail.com. It's SHEIKH NAJIPUDDIN @gmail.com. You just feel free to just contact me with this mail. Just if you have any queries, just mail me. I will just go through it and just answer your response.
Okay, sir.
So
Thank
there is
you
a
so
question in the chat box, sir. So there is a question in the chat box. The pressure of ambu bag.
Mm-hmm.
What is the pressure used in the ambu bag? There is a question in the chat box only. So I've just repeated that question. Neha Jain had is asking this question.
Okay, so just when we are giving the manual hyperinflation techniques in the ambu bag, so we just kept in mind that it should not, because there is not such type of measurement, any type of you can say not any meters and something else, but we should kept in that it should be given with large tidal volume. You know what is the tidal volume of a patient? Hello, are you
Yes,
getting my voice?
yes, sir, I know. Tidal volume is that is a normal inspiration and expiration.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
during the
So
quiet breathing.
on,
Yeah.
definitely. So if the patient of that age, that male or female, we what the patient age is that, if the male is female is there, we just go for the normal values of that. Then we have to give the normal tidal volume, is larger part, not the normal part. Larger tidal volume like 5 liters. It's the normal what you call as tidal volume is 5 liters. So 5 liters ka aapko we just give him with the help of ambu bag, the pressure, especially right in the phase of inspiration. You have also kept in mind that it should be given at the phase of inspiration. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
just
Okay, sir.
and also we just kept in mind that you should not be given the same pressure to the pediatric patients or to the patients who are having this atelectasis.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So
One
there is
query
one
is
more
there.
question. Yes, sir.
Yeah. In case
So
of
there is one more.
spirometry,
Yeah.
I just wait. I have just got one query that in case of a spirometry, the indication in the proper way of inspiration and expiration is like I'm not getting this question. What is that? Who is asking this? I don't know. Fine, as we all know that how to use the incentive spirometer, like it is having a different volumes written already mentioned in the spirometer, right? 900 cc, 1200 cc, 1500 cc, right? Hello, are you audible? Himanshu? Himanshu?
Yes, sir.
Himanshu?
You are audible. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, Himanshu, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here. Actually, I have muted myself.
Okay. Don't mute yourself. At least you are a host of this, now.
So yes, sir,
Okay.
I think the question is about incentive spirometry, its use and contraindication and indication, something like.
Yeah, I think it's the patient. I think it's almost given to all the patients, especially the patient who has gone for surgery, any type of abdominal surgery, or the chest wall surgery, or the chest surgery of the thorax, or the spinal cord surgery. Anyone, the patient, usually the physician usually prescribe to give this spirometer. So it is very much helpful, especially, and it is especially helpful for the patient who is having the obstructive lungs disease. We make the patient, or we motivate the patient to go for more phase of expiration in spite of inspiration. So it depends upon the condition of the patient. Any queries? I think, Himanshu,
Yes, sir.
I don't. Everyone is unmuted. You know, this is you just
Yes,
they
sir.
are
Actually,
muted.
they are muted and they can unmute themselves if they want.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Himanshu, I think the query session is also gets open. I was like closed. I
There is
think so.
one more question, sir. One more last question. Someone has asked about the settings of ventilator FiO2.
FiO2
Yes.
means like what? FiO2 means it depends upon the, you know, there is a term called as oxygen cost of breathing in the ventilator. Means it is the amount of energy consumed by the respiratory muscles. And this can be done with or evaluate with the help of arterial blood gas analysis. तो ABG के द्वारा या ABG से हम पेशेंट को evaluate कर सकते हैं कि कितना परसेंटेज पेशेंट का patient spontaneously breathing कर रहा है, उसके हिसाब से then we just go for the values of FiO2 plus.
And one more
So
is there.
I have a doubt. Can I ask?
Yes. Please ask.
Yeah.
Sir, I had a doubt that why cannot we use
First, please tell
suctioning
your
in
name, ma'am.
obstructive
Ma'am, please.
diseases? Like we can use huffing and coughing techniques and stuff, but even then, after that, if the secretions are too much and cannot be removed, so why is it contraindicated? Why is suctioning contraindicated in obstructive diseases?
See, because if we go for suctioning now, it will increase the bronchospasm, right? Because we are creating a negative pressure inside the lungs. अगर आप suction catheter को introduce करते हैं, तो definitely it is a foreign particle. So the part when we introduce the catheter inside the respiratory tract now, there is a response of the muscles. They just try to contract. और जब आप pressure release करते हैं secretions निकालने के लिए, so what will happen because there is already a bronchospasm. और अगर आप उस पे negative pressure apply करेंगे, then it will increase more and more bronchospasm, leads to obstruction of the air, total obstruction.
Okay, sir. Then, like, if the secretions are too much, what else can be used to remove that?
If the secretions are too much there, you just go for steam inhalation, normal steam inhalation. We can go. Or practically, you know, practically in some hospitals, I used to see that they use normal saline. Just to, if the secretion is very much thick, they just put the normal saline NS, and then if it gets loosened, then after that, if possible, we make the patient to go for cuffing techniques and remove it. Or if very much essential, then only we go for suctioning. Or we also go for tracheostomy of that patient if the patient won't be spontaneously cough.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So there is one more question in the chat box. Meenakshi. Meenakshi, are you here? So she has written that physiotherapy treatment of multiple fibrotic bands in both lower lobes of the lungs. So she's asking about the PT treatment.
What you just repeated, fibrotic?
Multiple fibrotic band in both lower lobes of the lungs.
Yeah. This is the type of you know, it is an obstructive lungs disease.
Obstructive lungs.
Okay, so if there is a fibrosis, developed fibrosis now, the patient, we just mainly make the patient to go for deep breathing exercises, and also we go for patient giving oxygen therapy and relaxation techniques to that patient.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
If there is
Hello?
tracheal, hello.
Ma'am, audible.
If there is still bronchospasm, can we give tracheal tickle or tracheal stimulation?
Ma'am, tracheal stimulation, it will increase the bronchospasm.
So we cannot go through it.
Ma'am, if the patient is having,
can give?
you know, like a, no, ma'am, because it will increase the patient's bronchospasm. So patient का मैम spasm बढ़ जाएगा, तो maybe it leads to obstruction of the airways. अगर better उस patient का हम tracheostomy करवा दें, that's better.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Sir, can we have a brief discussion on ventilators within 2 minutes?
Just,
And the modes of
hello?
ventilators.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will just tell you this in a very short way. What is ventilator?
Yeah.
Mechanical ventilator, we usually call it as, right?
Yes.
This mechanical ventilator, it is as the name suggests, it is a machine called artificial breathing machine. We call it as from artificial breathing machine bolte hain, and it is specially given for the patient who do not take spontaneous breathing. Okay. Then there are two modes: pressure support modes and volume support modes. Two modes of ventilator. In India, we usually use volume support modes of ventilator, especially इसमें SIMV mode हम use करते हैं, synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं, right? SIMV mode, especially we use to give to the patient. लेकिन उसके पहले भी हम there are also very much one or two modes like your pressure support mode. Pressure support modes में रहते हैं. Are you getting, Himanshu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. Yes.
Okay, fine. So, right. So in what I'm saying that is volume and pressure support, two types of ventilators are there. So especially when volume support ventilators are used in India, and pressure support ventilators are also used, and especially used at the type of weaning from the ventilators, like your positive and pressure ventilator, the PEEP or your NEP, NEEP. All these modes are ventilators especially used at the time of your weaning from the mode from ventilation. India में generally the anesthetist you use synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation. इसमें कुछ patient खुद लेता है और कुछ ventilator उसको support करता है. Means the ventilator have a sensors in itself कि वो patient का inspiratory phase में कितना ऑक्सीजन उसको डिलीवर करना है और पेशेंट कितना खुद स्पॉन्टेनियस ब्रीथिंग कर रहा है. इट शुड बी जस्ट सेंस्ड बाय द वेंटिलेटर, राइट? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. और वी जस्ट जनरली इंडिया में यू जस्ट गो फॉर दिस. हमको यहाँ पर पता नहीं होता है इंडिया में कि स्पेशली जो भी पेशेंट आता है उसको सीधा ऐसा एमवी मोड पे डाल देते हैं. जनरली वी हैव टू असेस द पेशेंट. जैसे आई टोल्ड यू that we go for the oxygen cost of breathing, means we have to go for first arterial blood gas analysis. patient का PaO2 कितना है, patient का PCO2 कितना है, we just go for it first, then according to that we decide the mode of ventilator. इस हिसाब से we just go for it, right? And there are also very much hazards of ventilator like barotrauma. अगर हम patient के बहुत ज़्यादा patient को pressure दे देते हैं, then it will lead to your pressure induced injury to the alveoli. It may lead to bursting of that alveoli and infection. This is also one of the common cause of the patient who is prolonged time, who is for long duration ventilator में रहते हैं उनके लिए. Okay, Himanshu.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It was actually a nice discussion and very good elaboration of the all cardiac ICU techniques, instruments, and physiotherapy methods, how we can treat the patient in an effective way. And as such, if we discuss the cardiac ICU and ICU physiotherapy, I think it is the biggest topic. There are various things to discuss. Even medications can be discussed for 1 hour. So in the shorter duration, we have covered everything. Every area of the ICU physiotherapy will be covered.
Definitely, it will take a lot of time. It will take a lot of duration, lot of time to discuss. Ventilator itself is a big topic.
Itself is a big topic. Yes, I can understand, sir. It has everything. Every mode has its specificity.
Yeah.
The specific volume is there. How you can give, when you have to discontinue, when you have to initiate. So that is a very elaborated session, but we have covered everything. So I hope
definitely
participant may get a best knowledge today. But sir, for me only, I want one key information from your side. कि आप एक छोटी सी information दें कि yes, this has not to be done during ICU physiotherapy. कि ये हमें नहीं करना चाहिए. जैसे common myth, as I have seen, everyone goes to the ICU and start percussing the patient, irrespective the patient is having any condition, it is a conscious or unconscious. So in 1-2 line, what is your message to the participant? What we should do?
Definitely, I will just to the participants, I will just share my knowledge and my experience that I do not usually go for the routine treatment. You know, we do not go for the routine treatment, right? We have to be specific for the treatment. If required by the patient, if the patient is having a secretion, give him chest PT. If the patient do not need it, don't do it, because we are making the patient, हम patient को थका रहे हैं. क्योंकि I have seen lots of hospitals होते हैं कई जगह पे कि patient को as a routine part just physiotherapy दिया जाता है, patient required or not required. So this should be kept in mind. और आपको थोड़ा सा एक्सरे का नॉलेज, लंग्स के लोब्स का नॉलेज, ऑस्कल्टेशन आना चाहिए, ब्रेथ साउंड्स कैसे ऑस्कल्टेट करते हैं वो आना चाहिए. Everything, at least little knowledge सबका होना चाहिए before touching the patient. Okay,
So,
Manshu.
by getting this knowledge, we will definitely improve our clinical physiotherapy in ICU settings. So I hope everyone will has get some knowledge, some information in the ICU physiotherapy and how to work. And as a routine ICU physiotherapy, percussion is not a chest PT. It has a tremendous things to do. As sir has told, huffing, coughing, SCBT, manual hyperinflation, PNF, many things to do. So be specific. Try to get a specific indication, and at least as a physio, get a note of contraindication. What should not to be done. If you will not go for an indication, it's okay, but never go with the contraindication. So always avoid the contraindication. I again heartily thankful to the Sheikh sir that they have spared the time for us, and even though that he is also busy with the hospital setting, the patients and all. So while having this much of busy schedule and exhausting daytime, still they have spared the time for us. So we are actually grateful to you, sir, that you have shared your actual practical information with us, and that would be really very helpful for us. We would apply it in our practice, and we will improve something in the clinical settings in the ICU practice. In the same scenario, I would like to announce you one more
Thank you so much.
We are grateful to you, sir. I would like to announce one more thing, that we have another session at 9 p.m. today only with an international speaker, Dr. Syed Mohammad Baris, and he is Associate Director of Academics in the London Academy of Sports and Health Sciences. And that session would be going to be the very interactive session like this, and it is to be planned on the brain game. So I hope to you all to be there. We'll meet there at the 9 p.m. today again, and the link would be same. Whosoever has joined the link on this webinar on the same via the same link, you can join that webinar at the 9 p.m. So I again thankful from the side of Physio Inculcators to the Sheikh sir and to all the participants. They have joined us, and they are giving the positive response to us that you are joining us and you are showing the faith in us, and we'll try to improve the things. And thank you very much. We'll meet again at 9 p.m. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.